Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So last class I discussed about the different type of boilers. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about the boiler circulation process. Okay. So as there is a fuel and water, hot gases are there. So there may be some system to circulate the water and the hot gases. So today we are going to discuss the circulation system or the different type of boiler circulation system. So basically there are two types of circulation adopted. So one is the natural circulation system and the second one is the forced or controlled circulation system. There is in the natural circulation system this is two type. One is the natural circulation and another one is the accelerated circulation. So basically there are two types of circulation. One is the natural circulation and the another one is the forced circulation. Third one third type of circulation is used somewhere nowadays. This is called the combined circulation system, and that means the combined circulation system is the process which follow the natural circulation and the force or control circulation system. So in your syllabus basically you have to know about the natural and the force or the control circulation system. So what is the natural circulation system? So basically water delivered to a steam generator from the feed heaters is at some temperature well below the saturation value corresponding to the pressure. That means I say that water delivered because we get the steam from the water and then we use that steam. So that means the basic things of that which we deliver is the water. Okay. So this water first entering the economizer, then it is heated to much nearer to the saturation temperature. The from this economizer it enters the drum, which I show you the previous slide last class, that there is a drum. From that drum there inside the drum there is a water and the steam. So first the water entering to the economizer, it is heated to much nearer to the saturation temperature. Saturation temperature means the particular temperature at which the water convert itself to steam. Okay. So first it enters the economizer, it is heated to much nearer to the saturation temperature. From that economizer, the water enters the drum. Okay. So when the water enters the drum, that means from that drum the water now is being circulated, or we can say that as the water enters the drum, it joins the after entering the drum it joins the circulation system. Okay. So after entering the drum, the it flows down to the downcomer. That means there are many tubes you can see in the picture. So it comes down, or the we can say it is the downcomers or the tube, and enter mm, bottom of the water wall tube. Okay, so there is a drum and there is a pipes you can see, or the tubes you can see in these two pictures. So from that drum, with the help of the downcomber, it enters the bottom of the water wall tube. So if this is a water wall tube, you can see. So this bottom is the water wall tube. So it comes from the drum to the bottom of the water tube. Okay. So in the water tube or in the water wall tube, a part of water first converted to the steam. So when these water tubes, as these are the uh, water tube boiler, that means the hot gases are surrounding to the tubes and the water flowing through the tubes. So the water which is on the surface of the tube, that first converted to the steam. Okay, so why that first converted to the steam? Because the heat is transferred from the hot gases to the water through the uh, water tube wall. So the water which is on the surface of the water tube wall, so first heat is transferred to that, and those waters first converted to steam, and it mixes with the water which do not convert it to the steam and goes back to the drum. Okay, now when it goes back to the drum, as the density of the steam is low, in the drum the steam is separated. Okay, so you can see there the steam, the water is on the below of the drum and the steam is on the top of the drum. So the steam is separated in the drum. The remaining the water which now is in the drum mixes with the incoming water, okay, from the economizer, and the cycle is repeated. Okay, so that means first from the economizer the water is heated to its nearest value of the saturation temperature, then it comes to the drum, then the water flows through the water tube, and as the water flows through the water tube, the water which are on the surface of the tube, first those water converted to the steam, and as it is the circulation is in the process, so with the water and the steam mixes up and it comes back to the drum. As the density of the steam is low, the steam is separated and the existing water mixes with the flow of the water which comes from the economizer, then again goes back to the uh, water tube or through the downcomer, and the cycle is repeated and steam generation is in the process. Okay, so the circulation in this case take place, it is called the thermosiphon principle. Actually, this thermosiphon principle is what I told you. This is the thermosiphon principle. The water comes to the drum, then circulated through the water tube, then the water in the surface first converted to the steam, and it is goes back to the drum. The steam is separated, then the existing water mixes with the water comes from the economizer, and the circulation is repeated. This is the thermosiphon principle. Okay, so the downcomers contains relatively cold water, whereas the water wall tube contains the steam water mixture. So that means the water wall tube has the more temperature than the downcomer at the starting point of the downcomer, because the temperature is less. Okay, so this water which first come down from the drum, and the water and steam mixture which goes back to the drum, so there is a density difference in between the two, because at first there is only water, and after that when it goes back to the drum, there is a mixture of water and steam. So there is a density difference, or you can say the density is less of the water which comes back to the drum. Okay, because there is a mixture of steam with the water. So this density difference is the driving force for the mixture. Okay, so the circulation take place at such a rate that the driving force and the frictional resistance are balanced, because when water flows through the tube, everything has some friction. So the driving force or the force due to which the water comes down through the water tube, so these two are balanced. That means the friction get neutralized with the force or the pressure due to which it comes down to the water tube from the drum. So as the pressure increases, the difference in the density between the water and the steam also reduces. Okay. So does the head of the water available inside the drum is not to balance the frictional loss. Okay, so that's why we also need to give the extra water which comes from the economizer to the drum to balance the frictional loss or the frictional resistance and the driving force of the water. Okay, so this is the natural circulation of water, or the natural circulation process of the boiler. So in this picture you can see that the natural circulation is, there is a drum, the water is coming from the economizer, the water is flowing through the downcomers. Here you can see these are the downcomers pipe, and then the water is flowing through the pipe. Okay, so the temperature inside this pipe is less than the temperature of these pipes, because the hot gases are surrounding these small pipes. Okay, so these are the natural circulation. Accelerated circulation means, here you can see that the tubes or the water tubes are horizontal line. That means due to the gravitational force, the water is flowing, or due to the force uh, experienced by the water due to the difference in the density, the water is flowing. But if you see the accelerated circulation picture, you can see that the tubes are in vertical position. That means due to that vertical position, or you can say due to the gravity, the circulation is accelerated. Okay, so this is the basic two difference of the natural circulation and the accelerated circulation. So in the natural circulation, you can see in this slide, in natural circulation, the force of gravity available to produce the flow comes from the difference in the density of the fluid in the downcomer and the riser circle. What I already told you, because the main force of the this circulation is the difference in the density between the incoming water and the water which goes back to the drum. Because the water which goes back to the drum, there is a mixture of water and the steam. That means the density is less. So due to this density difference, the water, there is a force acting to flow the or the circulate the water. Ideally, the fluid in the downcomer is water, slightly below the saturated temperature. Okay, what I told you, that means that water which comes through the downcomer is, the temperature of the water is the below saturation level, and we accomplish this job with the help of the economizer, because economizer heat the water, normal water, and it take the temperature of the water to the nearer of the saturation temperature. Then from the economizer we take the water to the drum, whereas the fluid in the riser circuit contains a mixture of water and the steam bubbles at saturated temperature. Okay, so that means the surface water is now converted to the steam, and the water which are not in the surface till that time they are not converted to steam, so the water and steam mixes with each other, and this new mixture is go to the drum, and in the drum the water and the steam are separated. The mixture in the riser circuit, by virtue of its higher temperature and the presence of steam, is lighter and hence less dense than the water in the downcomer circuit. I already explained that things. By virtue of the difference in their density, the lighter steam and the water mixture rises to the steam and water drum as it is displaced by the heavier and more denser water. So as the water, the circulation is continuous, so when water flows through a particular pipe, mm, some water converted to steam, the water and steam mixes with each other, but the from the downcomer the water continuously come down to the um, water tubes or through the downcomers. Okay, so as the water is coming through the downcomers and the density of the mixture is lighter, so it automatically with the help of the pressure it automatically goes back to the drum, and in the drum the water and the steam are separated. Okay, so in any given natural circulation system, the circulation is increased with increased heat input. So as the heat input or the heat energy of the hot gases increases, so more water is converted to the steam. So there is a more mixture means the mixture with the steam and the water. So as the mixture is lighter, then due to the higher density of the water from the downcomer, it goes back to the drum and the circulation process is will increase. Okay, so the increase in the heat input causes a larger percentage of the steam in the steam and the water mixture in the riser circuit, causing the mixture to become lighter in weight. So as the heat increases, that means more water converted to steam. That means the density of the mixture becomes lesser than the previous one. Okay. So the increased difference in the density cause the force of gravity to be greater, which in turn increase the rate of circulation. Okay. In the bent tube boiler means, which I told you, the accelerated circulation. The tube is bent, so it is also called the bent tube boiler. The circulation rate is increased above the rate found in the straight tube boiler, as the first one is the difference in the density, and the second one is there is the in the bent tube boiler or the accelerated circulation process, the water tubes are in the vertical position. So one force is acting due to the difference in the density, and the second force is acting due to the gravity. So the total force increases. That means the circulation also increases. Increasing the difference in densities is accomplished in the bent tube boiler by utilizing smaller generating tube. Generating tube means the water pipe in which or inside which the water is converted to steam, or you can say the steam is generated. That's why it is called the generating tube. So if the generating tubes is smaller dimension, that means the water circulated through the tubes, approximately all the water inside the tubes are come contact with the water wall. That means the all maximum water inside the tube converted to the steam, and that means the mixture density is very less, and due to the both of the previous slide, the both the forces, the circulation process is faster. Okay, So the smaller tube, the greater the ratio of surface area to the volume of water in the tube, therefore the greater Gibbs observing characteristics of the tube, which I already told you. The downcomer circuits are generally comprised of larger water tubes which are usually placed away from the heat of the combustion of the outside of the boiler. Okay. So because the downcomer, with the help of the downcomer, if we see the picture of the natural combustion, you can see this is the downcomer. The water is coming down with the help of this downcomer. So this is placed outside the uh, place where hot gases are circulating. Okay, so due to this, the temperature of the downcomer circuit is less than the temperature of the mixture inside the water tube. Okay, so as the temperature in the downcomer circuit is less, so when the circulation is under process, that means the mixture is going to the drum and the water comes from the come from the downcomer. So the temperature balance, some temperature balance happen inside the water tubes or the generating tube, because at first if we start the process, so first the water comes to the downcomer, then from downcomer it goes to the generating tubes, and uh, inside the generating tube the steam is generated. That means the temperature of the generating tube increases. So now when the circulation is in process, then after, when this mixture goes to the drum, then water comes from the downcomer to the generating tube. That means the temperature of the water is less than the previous one. Now that means it also help us to secure the saturation temperature of the generating tubes. Okay, because if the generating tubes are become higher and the temperature of the generating tube become higher and higher, then it may possible that the generating tube may melt. Okay, so that's why the downcomers are placed uh, away from the heat of the combustion chamber. So here small thing which is written: a marine boiler operates at 60 psia. Psia means pressure per semi-inch. It is the ambient temperature. Okay, so it is the size of a particular boiler. Somehow it is called the 600 psi drum of the boiler. Somehow it is called the 1200 psi a drum boiler. That means the capacity of the drum to hold the pressure is that much, 600 psi. Okay, that is the drum. Inside the drum, the pressure capacity up to this, it can hold the pressure. Okay, so the superheater outlet steam temperature is 875 degree Fahrenheit, and the feed water entering is the 350 degree Fahrenheit. So if we want to calculate the density of the water, we know the density of the water, we can write the density is 1 by the specific volume. Okay, so at 350 degree Fahrenheit temperature, the specific volume is this one, 0.01779952 per meter. So if we put the value here, then we can get the density is 56.18. Okay, so this is the density when the water, in case of the natural circulation, when the water comes to the generating tube from the downcomer. Now when the water converted to the steam, so the saturated water temperature approximately 486.2 degree Fahrenheit. So now the specific volume, you can see in this temperature the specific volume is 1.7799. Now the specific volume is 0.02013. Okay, so this is the specific volume of water at this particular temperature. So if we want to calculate the density, 1 by specific volume, then you can get the specific the density of the water at that particular time when the some water is converted to the steam. So you can see there is a difference in between the density of the water which coming inside the generating tube, and after some portion of the water converted to steam, the density of the mixture is 49.68. That means the difference, there is a difference in the density which is 6.5 pound meter per feet cube. So due to this density difference also, what I told you, that due to this density difference, a force is acting to circulate the water and the water mixture from the drum again to the drum. Okay. So now is the force circulation. So natural circulation, in case of the natural circulation, is limited to the boiler drum operating pressure approx 175 kg per centimeter square. Okay. So if a boiler drum beyond this capacity 175 kg per centimeter square of pressure, um, then the circulation to be assisted with the mechanical pumps. So now we have to use mechanical pumps to overcome the frictional losses. Okay. So to regulate the flow through various tubes, plates which are used. So this system is applicable in some regions, say when the pressure is 200 kg per centimeter square. So here you can see a force circulation schematic of the force circulation. Here you can see that this is a steam drum. Water is fed from the economizer. The water is coming to the drum. Here this symbol means here we using a pump to feed the water. Again here we using a pump to take the water to the drum. Okay. Now from the drum, this water comes down with the help of the downcomer. You can see this is the downcomer. With the help of a pump, we'll take out the water from the drum and push it to the combustion chamber, or the where the hot gases are there. So here you can see the water walls. Okay. So through this water walls, the water is flowing. Okay. So some water converted to the steam and the mixture, the density of the mixture is less. So this the less density mixture is going through this pipe again to the drum, and the steam is separated inside the drum. Then the steam is taken out and superheated steam. After the superheater, the superheated steam feed to the turbine. Okay. So this is a forced circulation, because here you can see that the many pumps are used to flow the circulation. Okay. So that's why it is called the forced circulation. Okay. So here it is the steam separation. The operating pressure has an effect on the natural tendency of steam and water to separate, because the less density, the steam is the less density, and inside the drum there is a space. So the steam is separated from the water, and the steam is stored upside of the drum. In the separation of the steam and the water, the limiting velocity of the water particle conveyed in the steam and the force of the gravity both vary directly with the differential density of the water and the steam. Same process. That means the difference in the density of the feed water which is circulated from the economizer and the density of the mixture, the density is different. So again, when the mixture is goes back to the drum, so again we feed some continuously feed water from the economizer to the drum, and the circulation is take place continuously. So here again, if we see that 600 psi, the density is here is 49.68, and the steam saturation, the density is 1.299. So we can see here the difference in the water and the downcomer and the density of the mixture, water and the steam. So this difference in the density, the force is or the circulation is take place, and inside the steam it divides. The steam and water particle divides. So now the end points. So as the rate of the steam generation of a boiler increases, so if we increase the steam generation inside a boiler, there is a condition when further increase in the steam rate is impossible. That is called the end point of the boiler. Okay, that means after some value of the steam generation, it is not possible by the boiler to generate more steam, or it is impossible to increase the steam rate. That is, this point is referred to as the end point for the particular operating factor which determines the limit of steam generation. Okay, so particular operating factors, that means uh, when the boiler comes to an end point, to come to the end point, there needed some operating factor. So there are three type of operating factor. That one is the end point of combustion, second is end point of moisture carryover, and third one is the end point of the water circulation. So when these three combustion, moisture carryover, and the water circulation comes to the end point, that means the steam generation is also comes to the end point. Okay. So what is the end point of combustion? So end point of the combustion is limited by the amount of fuel which can be burned properly and efficiently in a given boiler. So in each and every boiler, there is some amount of fuel. It is at the time of manufacturing, it is given that such amount of fuel, maximum this amount of fuel, if we use to burn, then it the combustion chamber or the boiler work properly and the efficiency is high. And if we use more than the amount of the fuel, then the efficiency is goes down. That means there is a limit to use maximum amount of fuel inside the combustion chamber. So when we use such amount of fuel inside the boiler chamber or the combustion chamber, that means that is the end point of combustion to make the efficiency of the boiler high. So that is the end point of the combustion when we supply that amount of fuel to the combustion chamber in which the efficiency of the combustion chamber or the boiler is high. Okay, so that is called the end point of combustion. The second one is end point of moisture carryover. So endpoint of moisture carryover means when the water converted to steam, inside the steam some particle of the steam carry the water molecule. That means the moisture is carry over. Okay, so when we inside the drum, when steam is separated from the water and stored in the upside of the drum, and we take out the steam to the superheater, that means through the steam there is some moisture which is going to the superheater. Okay, or the turbine. So there is a point, or there is a amount of moisture after which, if the amount of moisture is high, then it affects, or it can carry any accidental operation inside the superheater or the turbine. So there is a limit of moisture carryover inside the boiler from the drum to the superheater. So if the moisture carryover point is reaches, that means that is the end point of moisture carryover. We cannot use more moisture to go to the superheater of the turbine. So that is called the end point of moisture carryover. And the third one is the end point of water circulation. So when the generating tubes are always surrounded by the hot gases, so when such a time occur when the water which is circulated through the downcomer to the generating tubes, that water is not sufficient to prevent the or the to reduce the temperature of the generating tubes. So that water, that means the water which you use from the downcomer, if at a particular point, I previously what I told you that when the there is steam is generated, the mixture is density is less, so the temperature of the mixture is high than the water in the downcomer. So when the circulation is in process, that means that water from the downcomer goes to the generating tubes. That means the tube which is highly heated, now due to the less temperatured water, the heat is transferred to the water, and the temperature of the water tube wall is maintained. So if such point occurs when after the water which is coming from the downcomer is not sufficient to reduce the temperature of the generating tube, that point is called the end point of the water circulation. That means if we going to circulate the water, and if we going to increase the amount of steam, that is not possible, because the temperature, then the temperature of the generating tubes is growing or increasing rapidly, and it can hamper the generating tube. So that is the end point of the water circulation. So if water end point of water circulation reaches, if end point of the combustion reaches, and if end point of the moisture carryover reaches, that is called the end point of the boiler. That means it is after at that time the steam which is generated, it is not possible to increase the steam generation of the boiler. This is the end point of the boiler. Okay, so this is the circulation process inside the boiler, how the water comes to the drum and then circulated through the water tubes, and steam is generated, and how steam is stored inside the drum, and after that the steam is taken out from the drum to the superheater. So this is the overall circulation process of any boiler. So if you have any question, you can